When bad people realize that you've seen through their lies, manipulation, or fake kindness, they don't stay quiet. Instead, they start acting differently to protect their image and control. First, they play the victim, twisting the story to make you look like the problem. Then, they spread rumors or lies to damage your reputation before you can expose them. They might gaslight you, pretending that you're overreacting or imagining things to make you doubt yourself. Some will pretend to change, suddenly becoming kind, helpful, or emotional, only to pull you back into their control. Others will try to isolate you, pushing away people who support you so you stand alone. And finally, when nothing works, they turn cold and distant, silently punishing you for seeing the truth. In short, when bad people know that you know, they don't apologize, they strategize. That's when you must stay strong, trust your intuition, and never let their fear-driven behavior pull you back into their web.
There's a moment, a quiet, gut-deep moment, when you realize that someone has been lying, manipulating, or playing a game with you. And even deeper than that comes the moment they realize, you know, what follows isn't always an apology. It's rarely accountability. Often, it's a desperate dance, a frantic scramble to protect their ego, their image, or their control. Today, we're going to talk about that moment, about 6 things bad people do when they realize their mask has slipped, and you've seen what they hope to hide. When bad people realize that you've caught on, that you see behind the mask, the manipulation, the false charm, they don't back down, they escalate. Their instinct is not reflection, it's protection, not of you, of themselves. And they'll use one of the most dangerous emotional weapons there is, gaslighting. At its core, gaslighting is not just about lying. It's about eroding your confidence in your own reality. It's psychological warfare masked as concern, logic, or truth. They'll twist your words, rewrite history, and make you feel like you're the one who's confused. You might hear things like, "It never happened, you're imagining things. You always overreact. This is why I can't talk to you. You're being so dramatic. It wasn't that serious. Wow, I thought you trusted me. Why would you assume the worst?" Suddenly, the issue is no longer about what they did. It's about how you misunderstood, how you are too emotional, too sensitive, too suspicious. This tactic is designed to exhaust you, to make you second guess the very thing you were once sure of. And if you're not anchored in your own self-trust, it's easy to start wondering, maybe I did misread it. Maybe I am the problem. But you're not. Their denial isn't truth. Their calm tone isn't innocence. Their confidence in lying isn't proof that they're right. People who have nothing to hide don't need to twist reality. They don't have to reframe your pain as an overreaction. They don't have to convince you that your truth is fiction. So when someone gaslights you harder after being confronted, it's not because you're wrong, it's because you're finally seeing clearly. And they know it. This is when you must hold your ground. Repeat the truth to yourself, even when they try to bury it in confusion. Document patterns, talk to someone you trust. Protect your mind like it's sacred, because it is. Gaslighting thrives in silence and self-doubt, but your clarity, your voice, that's what makes it lose power. That's what makes you powerful. They play the victim, expanded and lengthy. When bad people realize you've seen through them, when they know you know, they don't reach for accountability, they reach for pity. This tactic is one of the most manipulative because it doesn't look like manipulation at all. It looks like pain, it looks like tears, it looks like regret, but it isn't real remorse. It's performance, a strategy, a way to flip the power dynamic and make you feel like the villain for daring to name the truth. You might hear, "I can't believe you think that about me after everything I've done. Everyone turns on me eventually. I guess I'm just the bad guy now, huh? Wow, I didn't expect this from you." Suddenly, your pain becomes their burden. Your confrontation becomes their crisis. And instead of sitting with the harm they've caused, they expect you to comfort them. This is how they manipulate your empathy because they know you care, they know you're thoughtful, sensitive, emotionally intelligent, so they hijack that. They make you question whether you were too harsh or too cold. They want you to apologize for how you made them feel instead of holding them accountable for what they actually did. It's a distraction. It's smoke and mirrors. Because if they can make you feel guilty, they never have to feel shame. If they can convince you that they're the real victim, they avoid the discomfort of being seen as anything else. But you don't owe people comfort when they've caused you harm. You don't have to soften the truth just because it makes someone squirm. And you certainly don't need to stay silent to protect someone's image of themselves. The most dangerous people are often not the ones who scream. They're the ones who cry the loudest when they're caught. Not because they're hurt, but because they've lost control. Let them play the victim if they want to, but don't hand them your compassion at the cost of your clarity. Real victims don't weaponize their wounds to silence others. Your job is not to rescue someone from the consequences of their behavior. Your job is to stay rooted in your truth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes them. Because in that moment, their story doesn't need a rewrite. It needs a reckoning. When someone with bad intentions realizes you've uncovered the truth about them, when they know the performance is over and the mask has slipped, they shift to a new strategy: control the narrative. And the fastest way to do that is not through an apology or a private conversation. It's through other people. They move fast, quietly, strategically, behind closed doors and in whispered conversations. They start planting seeds of doubt in others. They'll say things like, "I'm worried about them. They're not really themselves lately. Honestly, I didn't want to say anything, but I saw this coming. They've been acting strange for a while now. Maybe they're overwhelmed or unstable." I love them, but they've always been kind of dramatic, you know? And just like that, they poison the well. They turn your courage into craziness, your truth into toxicity, your boundaries into bitterness, and the people who used to cheer for you start to hesitate. Because bad people don't just fear being exposed, they fear being alone in their exposure. So they race to recruit allies. They weaponize your vulnerability, spin your story into gossip, and recast themselves as the calm, rational one, just trying to make sense of it all. It's a character assassination wrapped in concern. Why? Because if they can make people question your credibility, then your truth becomes easier to dismiss. Because the most effective way to invalidate a story is to discredit the storyteller. And it hurts, it really hurts, to be painted as the problem when you're the one who finally spoke the truth, to see people you thought were friends fall for the performance, to watch your integrity be twisted while the one who harmed you plays innocent. But here's what you need to remember. People with depth will see through the performance. People who know you, really know you, will buy into the smear campaign. And even if some people turn away, your truth doesn't stop being true just because someone is shouting louder. This tactic isn't a reflection of your failure. It's a reflection of how desperate they are to avoid accountability. So don't chase every rumor. Don't defend yourself to every doubter. Don't sacrifice your peace trying to correct a story that was never rooted in honesty. Instead, stay grounded, speak clearly, stand tall, because while lies can move fast, truth always lasts longer. Let them turn others against you if they must. Your integrity is not up for negotiation. And your silence, when chosen with wisdom, not fear, is louder than their noise. When bad people realize that you know the truth, when they see it in your eyes, feel it in your tone, recognize it in your distance, you would think they might address it, apologize, ask questions, offer accountability. But instead, many of them do something chilling. They carry on like nothing ever happened. No acknowledgement, no explanation, no effort to mend what was broken. Just silence. Smiles, small talk, a casual, hey, how are you? As if the betrayal, the lie, the manipulation, the wound never existed. Why? Because pretending nothing happened is a form of emotional control. It's calculated, it's a strategy, and it puts all the pressure on you. If you bring it up, you're the one ruining the mood. If you mention the hurt, you're the one being dramatic. If you hold your boundary, you're the one holding the grudge. And so you're left in this surreal, frustrating in between. So they're acting like everything is fine, but your body knows it isn't. Your nervous system feels the tension. Your mind replays the truth. Your gut screams that this isn't safe, no matter how normal they act. But they're banking on your discomfort. They're hoping you'll choose politeness over truth, that you'll bite your tongue to avoid confrontation, that you'll meet them in the land of denial because that's where they feel most in control. This tactic is not just avoidance, it's gaslighting wrapped in performance. They want to rewrite the reality by skipping the part where they were held accountable. They want you to doubt yourself enough to join them in the fantasy. Because if you go along with it, maybe it wasn't that bad, right? Ugh. Ignoring harm doesn't heal it. Sweeping pain under the rug doesn't make it disappear, it just makes it grow in the dark. And when someone pretends nothing happened, what they're really saying is, your pain is inconvenient to me, I'd rather erase it than face it. But you don't have to play along. You don't have to return to normal when normal was built on manipulation. You don't have to fake peace to avoid discomfort. You're allowed to hold space for what happened. You're allowed to change the dynamic. You're allowed to say, I can't do surface level with someone who's wounded me and won't acknowledge it. Because pretending nothing happened is their way of staying powerful. Naming what happened is your way of staying free. So stay rooted in reality. Stay loyal to your truth. And when they pretend nothing happened, let your quiet boundaries speak the loudest. You're not cold. You're not cruel. You're just done co-signing someone else's denial. When the truth comes out, when someone with manipulative tendencies realizes that you've seen them clearly, that their mask has cracked and their patterns have been noticed, they often don't respond with rage, blame, or threats. Not right away. Sometimes they go soft, sweet. They pivot into charm, and they suddenly become everything you once wished they'd be. They compliment you more. They show up attentive, thoughtful, generous. They ask about your day. They remember the little things. They offer help, kindness, even affection. Sometimes the exact things you used to beg for. It feels like change. It looks like growth. But beneath it, it's still about control. This is not the language of remorse, it's the language of strategy. They're not trying to rebuild trust. They're trying to regain access, because what you've taken away from them, your belief, your vulnerability, your availability, is power, and now they're working overtime to get it back. This tactic is deeply confusing, especially for empathetic people. And it makes you question, maybe they're trying, maybe I was too harsh, maybe I imagined the harm. Look at how nice they're being now. But please hear this. Charm is not character. Consistency is. Anyone can be charming when they're cornered. Anyone can perform kindness when they feel you slipping away. But if their goodness only shows up when they're about to lose you, it's not goodness, it's a transaction. This kind of charm is emotional currency. It's given with the expectation of return, and your forgiveness, your silence, a reconnection. But real change is quiet, humbling, and sustained. Real change says, I see how I hurt you, and even if you don't let me back in, I will keep working on myself. Fake charm says, I'll be sweet long enough for you to forget what I did. So how do you tell the difference? Look at the timeline. Are they showing up differently weeks, months later, or only right after being caught? Look at the motivation. Are they making amends or just making you feel guilty for pulling away? And most importantly, look at how you feel. Do you feel safe or seduced? Do you feel heard or handled? Because when someone genuinely wants to reconnect, they won't bypass the wound with niceties. They'll step into the hard conversations. They'll welcome accountability. They'll honor your pace, even if it's slow. They'll accept the consequences without pressuring you to forget. But when someone wants to win you back with charm, it's not about you. It's about their ego, their access, their narrative. You don't owe anyone entry into your life just because they learned how to sound softer. You don't have to be swayed by sweetness when your body remembers the pain. Hold your boundary. Honor the shift inside you. And know this, kindness should never have to be earned back through charm. It should have been there all along. When pretending nothing happened no longer works. When gaslighting, guilt tripping, and silent manipulation stop giving them power, bad people will often turn to their final, most primitive tactic, threat and intimidation. Because when they can't control how you see them, they try to control how others see you. And when they can't control your perception, they try to control your peace. They want your silence, your fear, your compliance, not your trust. At this point, they're not even hiding it. The threats might be loud or subtle, direct or veiled, but the intention is clear. Back down or pay the price. You may hear, if you keep talking like that, you'll regret it. Careful, people might start seeing you as unstable. I have stuff I could say too. You really want to start this war? Don't forget what I know about you. And if it's not said in words, it's delivered in tone. In this sudden shift from warmth to coldness. In the hovering silence. In the way they start showing up where you are watching, reminding you that they're still around. This is about fear, but not yours, theirs. Because fear is what lives behind the mask of intimidation. They're afraid of being seen, afraid of being held accountable, afraid that the story you're now brave enough to tell will cost them the power they work so hard to protect. And so they resort to fear-mongering. They want to make your truth too expensive to carry. They want you to second-guess your courage. They want to rattle your nervous system so badly that silence feels safer than speaking. But here's what they forget. You've already faced something harder than their threats. You've faced the truth. And once you've done that, once you've looked betrayal, manipulation, or abuse dead in the eye, you don't unsee it. You grow from it. This stage, the intimidation stage, is where many people freeze, not because they're weak, but because they're tired. Because fighting to protect your truth is exhausting, because you never signed up for war, you just wanted peace. But remember, you are not alone. People who threaten you are revealing their true character, not changing yours. People who try to scare you into silence are afraid of what your voice exposes. You don't owe your story to the world, but you do owe your safety to yourself. That might mean seeking support, setting legal or emotional boundaries, going no contact, asking for help. And yes, it might mean protecting your peace more fiercely than ever before. But intimidation only works when we believe the lie that we are powerless. And you're not. Not now, not anymore. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to speak truth. You are allowed to walk away from anyone who thinks your silence is for sale. And here's the most powerful part. When they threaten you, it means they know they've already lost control. What they don't realize is you just found yours. When someone with harmful intentions realizes you see them clearly, when you're no longer fooled, no longer afraid, no longer easy to manipulate, they panic. But their panic won't look like fear. It will look like power plays. It will look like charm, denial, blame, intimidation. It will look like everything except accountability. They will try to make you question what you know. They will try to make you the villain in your own story. They will try to buy your silence with sweetness or force it with fear. And in those moments, it's easy to feel isolated. It's easy to wonder if you're too much, too reactive, too unforgiving. But let me remind you, you are not too much. You are finally enough to yourself. You saw the truth. You named it. You honored the discomfort. You chose self-respect over approval. And that kind of courage will always unsettle those who depend on your silence. This is not about becoming hardened or closed off. This is about becoming whole. This is about refusing to shrink for people who only loved you when you were easy to control. It's about drawing a line, not out of bitterness, but out of deep, unshakable self-trust. Not everyone will understand the quiet strength it takes to walk away without shouting. Not everyone will applaud you for seeing what others chose to ignore. But healing is not a performance, it's a choice. And today you chose you. So let them do what they do. Let them twist, deny, threaten, flatter, or pretend. You don't need to match their chaos. You only need to stay rooted in your truth, because when bad people know that you know, they will change their tactics. But when you know that you will change your life. And that is where your freedom begins.
When bad people realize that you've uncovered their mask, their actions reveal who they truly are. Don't chase explanations. Don't try to fix them. Silence and distance are your strongest weapons, because the moment you stop engaging, their power over you disappears. Remember, truth doesn't need defending. It simply stands. Walk away with your dignity, protect your peace, and let their own behavior expose them. Your awareness is your freedom. Never give that away again.